My feet so fat I can't get into my roller skates. And my neck and chest don't fit anymore. Look at this. It's a stick up. It don't work. I do this at a bank robbery, I look like a fool.
Hey, what's up, pups? It's been a while. Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. I is tired, but I am good, and we are live on YouTube, Rumble, and Party, and X. Yeah, we're trying Party out. Is Party still working? I hope so. Do. Hopefully everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Hope you guys are doing well. It's been a while since I've done a show, but we have we got some good stuff to check into in the old pop culture realm. It's the Power Up Podcast. It's a show I do that just takes a look at what's happening in pop culture, and it ranges from what's good, what's bad, what's straight up retarded, and just a guy who gives his 2 cents amongst the many others who do it as well. If you enjoy the show, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on notifications to get notified when I go live. Like I said, we are on YouTube, Rumble, X, and we've been trying out Party. Sweet, sweet Party. Party, party, party. You got a party? I want a party. But yes, let's hop into it. I am like super tired today, which I worked today, but got off a tad bit earlier, but nothing special or anything like that. And I think I just realized that when I switch over to my segment here of like articles we'll read, I forgot to incorporate it, so you'll be seeing that. We are not ending. I am just cheap and I use the background for it. It's the only one that like stays within the arc reactor effect I have there. Otherwise, if it was starting, it would make sense, but like, you don't need to worry about it. But in any case, let's get this situated. Wha-bam, here we go. Hopping on over into Video Game Chronicle. So Nintendo has been going after people for piracy. They went after, as many of you might know, Emu Paradise. That was probably the most well-preserved website in terms of preserving video games. And, of course, Nintendo being the douchebags that they are in terms of, for some reason, not wanting to preserve their games, even though sometimes people ask for specific games. Went after it, got it shut down. So since then, they've been pretty much the proprietors of like coming after people and suing them for piracy. So apparently now they're targeting members of a popular Switch piracy subreddit. And they want to subpoena apparently the records of several domains, including Reddit. So Nintendo is pursuing the ability to subpoena business records from several domains, including Reddit, in an effort to crack down on Switch piracy, with one target being a hugely popular Switch piracy subreddit. Earlier this year, Nintendo sued James Williams, who Nintendo claimed was the operator, overseer, and driving force behind several pirate shops. Though which defendant has offered massive libraries of pirate Nintendo Switch games, or through which, Williams was also one of the moderators of the popular r/Switch piracy subreddit, and now, according to GameFile, Nintendo is seeking the business records of several platforms, including Reddit, in order to track other users. Reddit Incorporated operates a social media platform where users, often using pseudonyms, may post to different forums known on communities or subreddits, says Nintendo in a filing. Defendant was a primary moderator of the Switch Pirates community under the name Archbox, which boasted more than 190,000 members. Nintendo has reasons to believe that other accounts active in the Switch Pirates community may also have been contributed by defendant or controlled by defendant, or else reflect other individuals who have worked alongside defendant. The filing goes on to say that the purpose of all of the request subpoenas is to seek relevant information that is necessary for NOA to pursue infringement claims. Oh, that's literally the article. Very short, but it gets to the point. And the point is that Nintendo are a bunch of faggots. And you're I know like copyright infringement and, fair use and all that stuff is different over in Japan and whatnot. But this is how you kill people who want to support you, when people who want to preserve their games are being punished in doing so. Now, understand this. It's one thing if someone's like, uploading ROMs and stuff like that. I understand that. I can understand going after the people who are going, uploading stuff and whatnot too. I can understand it, but yet to me it's still a gray area, especially if it's people who like are just backing up their own personal stuff, because that's where it falls into. Now, some of the people they've cracked down, like, are people who are streaming games before they're even released. That's a totally other different thing, which I can totally understand that. But what's funny is that Sterling Craig, for example, he showed video of someone who went to, what is it, the video game museum or the Nintendo museum, where you could play games. And what are they using? They're using emulators. They're using ROMs. So Nintendo and their fight against piracy, to me, I feel like ultimately is going to be a losing battle, because there's always going to be someone else that's going to pop up. It's going to be like a Hydra. You can cut off the head, but how many heads are you going to be cutting off until you can find that origin head? And the origin is the internet. And so the unfortunate thing that Nintendo kind of needs to understand is that once it's out on the internet, it's going to be out on the internet in some way, shape, and form. Someone is going to preserve it. And they will do whatever it takes to spread it out, Because they're going after the people doing like Switch emulators and stuff like that, which, again, to me, if you have the game, you have the console, then they can piss off in terms of, if I want to emulate something, I'll go ahead and emulate it, because if it's a backup copy of my personal stuff, then they can fuck right off. Because people, we paid for it. But again, it's also, number one, are they listening to people who are asking for like, certain games that people want to play and whatnot? Number two, their ports that they release, like from like eShop or like the Wii Shop, the Switch Shop, or even their online stuff, like some of their versions of ports of old games like Super Mario Brothers 3 or something like that, for example, they like are inferior at times. Like sometimes the coloring can be off, all this and that. And it's like, if you're going to try to lure me into using your Game Pass and whatnot, then your shit better be like 1-to-1 of like the game I could have played back in the day. But it's not. So it's just ridiculous. This caught my eye just because I've seen so many, like, Nintendo just constantly going after people for piracy, and it's absolutely ridiculous, because what the companies really don't want to admit to is the fact that the studies that they try to bury deep and say that it's biased or whatnot actually show that people who pirate stuff usually are the ones that go out and buy it and support the thing. They don't want you to admit that, because then that means that, the people that they're targeting aren't necessarily the bad people in terms, and I'm not trying to get into like the law side of stuff, because it's a gray area. Then there's that, but then to me, I don't really feel bad when when any company's like stuff gets stolen and stuff, because they're turning around and trying to tell you that their digital products you don't own. So to me, it goes, okay, well, if I pay for something that you're trying to tell me that, nah, you don't really own it, you just bought a license and stuff, then when people rip your ROMs and make emulators and stuff like that, then they're not really stealing your shit. You've seen the meme out there. So it's rather unfortunate. So Like I said, very short article. But then again, I mean, it's Reddit too. Like, I could care less about Reddit. All the more reason to like just get off Reddit too, because you know they're scoping, they're looking around. So this also came from Video Game Chronicles, and these articles might span over like a couple days and stuff because I've been offline for a while, or I've just been gaming. Again, I've been kind of contemplating, trying to think if I want to start a new schedule because I really need to start pushing like content and like videos and whatnot. But I do enjoy gaming, of course. That won't go away, and this show. Riot will now ban content creators for infringement even if they're not committed in game. So this caught my eye as well. So let's see what they're talking about here. Riot Games has announced that it will now ban content creators who commit infringements against its terms of service, even if the infringement doesn't incur in game. I don't even know how you implement that. Let's find out. So from January 3rd, users who commit an offense, such as using slurs or offensive language about another player while streaming a Riot game, even if the offending phrase wasn't said in a game itself, will be banned. How? How do you enforce that? This comes as part of Riot's update to its off-platform conduct. Dude, this piss off. Like, you have no fucking responsibility nor right, honestly, to know what I'm doing offline. And especially if I'm playing like a fucking game. Like, these people need to pull their heads out of their ass and go fuck right off and keep their head to the grindstone and just make fucking games. Oh my gosh. This comes as part of Riot's update to its off-platform conduct standards, which it hopes will further eliminate toxicity associated with its games. Okay, so toxicity. This word has been politicized. We've all seen it. You know, masculine toxicity and positive toxicity and all that bullshit. The people who usually say we need to do this because we need to eliminate toxicity, they are like 90% of the time the most toxic people out there. Apparently, here's a video. The example given is a content creator streaming Riot games using an offensive term while a Riot game was in the background of the stream. In the background. This cannot be held up. This can't be held up because wouldn't that fall under fair use? Because if you're providing enough transformation of it, like it's now yours, you know? Oh my gosh. And again, fair use, that's been in a constant battle of determining what's fair use, even if the term wasn't said to another player or via in-game chat. If you say or do things that break our terms of service while broadcasting or creating content about our game, we can restrict access to your Riot accounts and suspend your partner privileges if you are part of our partner program. Reads updated terms that will go into effect early next year. Though we aren't going to proactively monitor everything. Bullshit. That happens across social media. Dude, then why are you implementing this? This makes absolutely no sense. We want to do all this. Oh, but we're not going to monitor. It's like, yes, you do, you fucker. You literally just admit it. Like, talk about two-faced right in the same sentence. Oh, my gosh. Though we aren't going to proactively monitor everything that happens across social media, and it's not within our rights to issue penalties in games when the content is brought to our attention. Gosh, again, policing. These people cannot understand the fact that that all this toxicity stems from a fear that is being projected onto actual gamers by these people. If you can't handle it, then leave. This is the most ridiculous part too. Off-platform conduct. How the hell do you monitor off-platform conduct and yet try to tell me, well, we're not going to be like proactively monitoring all across social. It's like, motherfucker, that's the only way you can do it to see if people have been doing this apparent crime of toxicity. Oh my gosh. These people. Unfortunately, we've let these people infiltrate the gaming industry. Now, I think that a good pushback is happening, but man, it can't come quick enough. Like, I just want to hear this.
Hey everyone, I'm Anna and I'm the studio head for Valorant, and I'm here to chat a bit about player behavior in the game. Since launching Val, especially with the addition of voice comms, we've known that fighting in-game harassment was going to be both something we needed to prioritize and also would be one of the most challenging issues that we would face. We've been working on systems and technologies, and we actually have been making a lot of progress, but having large global player communities presents unique challenges, evolving challenges. So we have to be ready and willing to re-examine things and hold ourselves accountable when things are not meeting our community's expectations.
Your job shouldn't be worrying about community. Your job should be worrying about making fucking good games. Believe it or not, communities are going to form whether you have a hand in it or not, you know? And lo and behold, the communities that developed back in the day where you just had to develop thick skin and, you know, shit talk back. Because at the end of the day, when you hit that power button and you turn off your console, you should be able to go to sleep at night, like, quite easily. If you cannot go to sleep because you're worrying that somebody that you don't even know online somewhere called you a fat piece of shit or something like that, like, you got bigger problems. Like, go seek therapy if that's the case. Go talk to someone. Oh my gosh.
And that's exactly what we've been doing. I've spent the last couple of weeks reviewing player logs, looking at penalty escalation paths, discussing player behavior philosophies, seeing where they're working and where we as a human and a parent and catch everything. Sometimes it has to be painfully manual, where constant attention is a complex problem space. Our systems cannot catch everything. They require constant attention.
And I hope I don't even want to listen to it because it's just going to make me mad. It's going to make me salty. It's stupid. It's retarded. Yeah. This person, whoever this is, straight up seems like a tourist to me. Probably didn't grow up with games. Probably didn't, face the reality of the Call of Duty lobbies back in the day where people shit talked each other all the frickin' time. And people like her should not be in charge of stuff. In charge of, well, we got to make these communities safe and stuff. It's like they were safe to begin with because everyone could bullshit with each other and laugh it off and then move about their day. And yes, I'm making a prejudgment about her. Don't even know who she is. Don't really want to know who she is. If you're promoting this idea of we got to make sure our communities are safe and going beyond video gaming to off-platform conduct, that is such the broadest term I've ever fucking heard of. Like, get fisted. Get fisted right up the butthole. And get out, by the way. Gosh, just let people play games. And the people who don't like the game don't have to play it. End of story. Move on. Play single-player games. Well, moving over to niche gamer here. Shuei Yoshida leaves Sony after 31 years. So this was November 27th. But longtime Sony boss Shuei Yoshida has announced he is leaving the company after decades, paving the way for new generations of leaders at the company. Leaving Sony Interactive Entertainment on January 15th, 2025, he said in a new PS blog interview, "It's like announcing this launch date of a new game, something I haven't done for a long time." Laughs. He added, "I've been with PlayStation from the beginning. This is my 31st year with PlayStation. And when I hit 30, I was thinking, maybe time for me to move on. You know, the company's been doing great. I love PS5. I love the games that are coming out on these platforms. Hate to say it, what games are you talking about? Because a lot of it's just been remakes of games or games that have been multi-platform. And we have new generations of management who I respect and admire. Well, I mean, what really should matter is the gamers and if they're being satisfied. And I hate to say it, not doing so well there, Sony. None of them actually are really doing well. Nintendo's being a bunch of butt pirates, literally, by cracking down on piracy. Microsoft is just a big pile of fucking garbage. And Sony are a bunch of, woke cucks. So, not really good place to find any good games besides your indie or studios that actually care about remakes or remasters, which is very rare. But you can somewhat find them out there. So excited of the future of PlayStation. So PlayStation is in really good hands. I thought, okay, this is my time. Yoshida started at Sony way back in '93, which at the time was just formed as Sony Computer Entertainment from two separate teams that previously worked on separate projects. When I joined PlayStation, I was still just a department. It was still just a department, Yoshida said. Ken's team was doing the development, and there was another team under Sony Music Entertainment, Japan, making games for Super Nintendo, and then was another small team preparing to make games for PlayStation. He continued, so the two teams merged, Ken's team under Sony and Sato-san's team under Sony Music Entertainment Japan to create Sony Computer Entertainment in November '93. Yoshida remained a key player in the PlayStation brand through the years, eventually becoming president of Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios from 2008 to 2019. He later moved on to serve other SIE projects. Well, I don't deny the fact that I'm sure he obviously brought a lot to it. As for feeling if it's being left in good hands, that is yet to be determined, at least by me. So far, every major gaming studio is failing miserably because they're listening to a bunch of retards and not to actual gamers who just want to be entertained. But not trying to sour the mood in terms of him leaning. I do thank you for your service. May the rest of your life be well, but I don't know. I do not know. Also coming from Niche Gamer, from November 27th, this was posted. PS2 tops 160 million sales. PlayStation history website launched. That is crazy. So Sony launched a new website detailing the history of PlayStation, where they confirmed the PS2 has now sold over 160 million consoles to date. The new website, which is linked here, was launched ahead of the 30th anniversary of the original PlayStation, which actually comes on December 3rd and spans the entire history of the platform through each generation of PlayStation. The website also shared sales numbers on each PlayStation platform. You got PS1, 102 million consoles from 94 to 06. The PS2, 160 million consoles since 2000 or since 2000. The PS3, 87 million consoles across the world since 06. And the PS4, 117 million worldwide since 2013. Well, you can see which one kind of didn't do so hot, and that was the PS3. Which is unfortunate because I did like the OG PS3 with its backwards compatibility. I said it before. I wish they would have stuck with it, but they didn't with the backwards compatibility. But now everyone's wanting to push a Game Pass to where they want everyone going digital, but people said, no, we want physical. We'd like to actually own our games because we've seen how you guys act in terms of, wanting to go digital. So it's worth noting the new sale record for the PlayStation 2 breaking 160 million units sold was officially confirmed for the first time today. So that would have been on the 27th November here. It wasn't reported in previous financial reports for the company. Furthermore, some fans are speculating the new sale numbers were announced in anticipation of the Nintendo Switch outselling the PS2, as it continually moves millions of consoles and is nearing the old sales record for PS2, which is still listed everywhere as 155 million consoles. Where can you how are they still selling this? Like, is this still can you actually buy a brand new PS2? Like, that's not from a scalper? PlayStation Store. Let's find out, shall we? PlayStation Store. PlayStation 2. Boop, boop. I'm not seeing anything. I'm wondering how they were able to find these additional numbers. Where can you buy a PS2? I mean, DK oldies and stuff, but that's are they counting that's eBay stuff? I don't know. I don't know exactly what they're counting. But anyway, that's cool that it's still climbing somehow, if it's true. All right, so kind of the big ones that caught my eye is everything that's happening with Obsidian. Apparently, what's his name? Matt Hansen. Apparently doing some shady hiring practices. Obsidian co-founder, this comes from That Park Place, urges rejected devs to sue Avowed Studio over allegations of illegal racist hiring practices. So the co-founder of Avowed developer Obsidian is urging anyone who was rejected for an art position at the Microsoft-owned studio to speak to a lawyer and seek legal action after art director Matt Hansen accidentally exposed alleged racist hiring practices. Uh-oh. You done goofed, homo. Chris Avalon was one of the 5 co-founders that came together to create Obsidian Entertainment, a developer that struck big when it developed Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. Avalon served as design lead on the project and continued working with them until 2015. Obsidian, now owned by Microsoft, has encountered a great deal of controversy surrounding its upcoming first-person fantasy RPG, Avowed. When the game's use of pronoun selection in a fantasy environment drew attention to the ex-owner and world's richest man, Elon Musk, its art director, Matt Hansen, jumped all over the situation, launching into profanity-laced tirades against the Tesla boss from his Blue Sky, of course, account. Oh, Blue Sky, isn't that now being investigated for PDF things? Not surprising. So following Hansen's fit, people started digging into statements he made in the past. That was when YouTube personality Asmongold made an interesting discovery. Hansen had in the past noted on social media that he made hiring based on race a priority. They mention Asmongold, but they have Grums tagged here. Kind of a weird placement for that. But anyway, so a reminder to Black artists out there who are looking for portfolio reviews or job advice, my DMs are open and you will always have my priority, the uncovered Hansen quote said. We got too many crusty white dudes in the field. Keep in mind, this guy is white himself, and it's always the same. What's up, Brian? Sony stopped reporting PS2 sales about 10 months before they discontinued the system. 5 million more sold after that. At least that is what the thought is. Source, Sony, dude, trust us. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that answers my question, because I was wondering, what else sold? And yeah, and like Niche Gamer said, it could be possible they threw that in there just because the Switch is getting closer to pretty much being the most breaking that sales record or whatever. Back to racist boy over here. So, too many white crusty dudes or crusty white dudes in this field. Please let me help you replace me one day. I want to go back to living in the woods. Well, couple things. Number one, I love that. Like, he's like, oh, I'm acknowledging my white privilege, like, sort of thing. This is what they always do. See, they always acknowledge the white privilege, but then when the next thing, according to their logic, would be to step down, they don't do it. Like, please let me help you replace, like, doesn't matter. Just pick someone and say, take my job. I'm gone. But they're not, but I'm sure he like immediately did that. Making hiring decisions based on race is a clear violation of Article, 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. To this day, I still suck with Roman numerals. Anyway, additionally, back in March, Musk had made a statement against businesses that institute racist hiring practice against, quote, white dudes. Hansen jumped all over that statement as well. Oh, Elon, you sweet summer child, Hansen wrote back in March in response to Musk's statement. This will only embolden me, you sad sack of shit. See if we can bring this up here real quick. That's Smash JT. That's Asmongold. Well, there's that. Where's the, I'm looking for, like, the picture of, like, the actual quote. I've seen it. I mean, you can find it on X. It'd just be nice to... Well, we have another article about him. But anyway, let's see. So he's saying all this from Blue Sky. So with this alleged illegal activity exposed, Musk has used his platform to highlight it publicly, even going so far as to tag the CEO of Microsoft in posts about Obsidian's hiring practices. Elon spoke out in response to this ongoing issue. When the crusty white dude leaves an industry, it tanks. See, tabletop gaming and comics experience is worth something, says Brian. Indeed. Indeed. So is this based on, so this is Chris Avalon or Avalone or however you want to pronounce it. His response. Based on recent news, if you were rejected from an art position, Obsidian, in the past few years, call a lawyer. Discrimination in hiring, especially for a Microsoft studio, can ensure you don't need to apply for a job ever again. I feel like, wouldn't this be made into a class action lawsuit? Because people could just be like, yeah, I applied. So that was his response. And it shouldn't cost you... Discrimination in hiring, especially for a Microsoft studio, can ensure you don't ever need to apply for a job ever again. And it shouldn't cost you a cent to initiate legal action. The lawyers will know what the case is worth, and they'll do the heavy lifting. And then he said, this has nothing to do with my personal politics, but I believe strongly that hiring discrimination for any reason isn't something the industry should tolerate. I hope you agree. Well, we do agree. But the fact is that it still happens. It's called hiring activists. It's called hiring terrorists. It's called your DEI hires because you're not meeting the fake, what is it, ESR standard or whatever, you know, the social brownie points rating, whatever the fuck it's called. Slipping my mind at the moment, but that crap. He goes on to note that his opinion on the situation, okay, we just read that. Of course, people challenged Avalon on this alleged Obsidian racist hiring policy, with one ex-user telling him, the co-founder of the company, that art directors have no say in hiring. Please stop being stupid. A post on an individual account by a guy who isn't even in charge of hiring isn't grounds for legal action. Yes, what the guy is saying is stupid doesn't mean you have to be stupid too. Uh-oh, sounds like somebody probably also partook in that racist hiring practice. If your immediate response is to be like, Who is this guy anyway? Well, gosh, dude, it never. I always get a giggle. I made a post about, like, same thing with the localization. I always get a giggle out of the people who, like, will die on this hill of, like, abuse me, Kami sensei. Abuse me. Like, stop being stupid. Like, localization is so good. Censorship is good. It's like, oh my gosh, like, what part of bastardizing a franchise that you love is so special that you'll die on that hill for? It makes no sense. Like, I get this is like the same thing. A post on an individual account by a guy who isn't even in charge isn't grounds for legal action. It's like, dude, these are like the same people who will bombard you back, who tried to bombard you back in the day in the cancel culture. And then they'll turn around and tell you, well, cancel culture isn't real. Look, when we said that he needed to be removed from the industry, it's for the safety. We'll help him get back. That's what they said about Vic Mignogna. Vic Mignogna. We'll get him the help he needs. We'll determine when he's successful. He just needs to lose all his money and source of income. Then we'll help him. Jeez. It's like you're still an abuser. You just think you're clever that you hid the bruises in like a way that no one will find the markings. Take the syringe and inject the abuse in between the toes. Can't leave those tracks around. Like, oh my gosh. Elon is no stranger to the gaming industry's hypocrisy and cancel culture. In 2020, he was accused of 2 women of sexual misconduct and harassment. Without any proof, Elon was immediately let go from several gaming projects. I feel sorry for that guy. Just needs to kiss the ring. However, he sued his 2 accusers for libel and won a 7-figure settlement from them. Oh, wah, wah, wah. Oh, get fucked. Good, I'm glad he won. Those people, those 2 fakers sound
gay.
Gay indeed. However, the accusers then recanted their statement, noting that the press had misinterpreted their dude, every time. Well, you didn't understand when I said that they raped me. I didn't. When I meant raped, I meant anything. It's like, oh my gosh, no, you didn't mean it. You knew exactly what you're talking about. Oh my gosh. Like when make no mistake, when I say that these people seem like a bunch of faggots, like they're a bunch of faggots. Like I'm not mincing my words here. And it's always misinterpreted. Like whenever it's like, liberals, Democrats and whatnot, when they make a mistake, when they get caught with their hand in the cookie jar, it's like the misinformation, disinformation. When they say, Republicans do misinformation, cancel them. They need to never work again. Everything that they own needs to be taken away from them. They need to be destroyed. When they're the ones that doing it, oops, it was just a mistake. Sorry. Every time. Mr. Avalon never sexually abused either of us, the 2 women said after losing the case. We have no knowledge that he has ever sexually abused anyone. Then why'd you say it? You sure apparently seemed confident when you went around saying that he did. I feel sorry for that guy, especially since I found out that he wasn't lying. But the damage has been done. See, that's the thing. The damage has been done. And there's going to be some people who won't care. Like, in their minds, they have been psyoped into believing that he did it. Do you think Obsidian and Microsoft are legally vulnerable over racist hiring? Yes, and they should suffer and burn. Just like Ubisoft. Obsidian whistleblower tells all on avowed art director Matt Hansen amid racist hiring allegations. So, I mean, I don't really need to say anything. Just take in that picture right there, and we'll continue. And by no means am I am I like, world's sexiest man, but yeah. Whistleblower that worked at the Microsoft-owned Obsidian Entertainment game studio has shown a light on toxic behavior from avowed art director Matt Hansen. When Hansen took a major victory lap to celebrate the fact that ex-owner and world's richest man Elon Musk has called out his fantasy RPG Avowed for its use of optional pronouns in a fantasy setting, he couldn't have known that this whole scenario would snowball the way it has. It always does, because these people do whatever they can to keep their skeletons in their closet. The thing is that their ideology that they follow sets them up to where their skeletons always get exposed every single time, because everything is a projection from these people. Their sins are so piled high that they do whatever they can to project all of that onto someone else in hopes that no one will question it, no one will look into their side. They'll just get, people will just believe them. They'll get their clout, they'll get their hand claps, and then they can try to quietly slip away, try to weasel out of it once the damage has been done. But it always comes to backfire them. And why? And for what purpose, honestly, in the end? Like, what's the goal here? The goal is sadly for clout. That's what it is. That's the saddest thing of all, is that for some reason, these people cannot find that the strength and the spirit inside of them to realize that they themselves have some sort of self-worth, but you have to work for it. And it is up to you to figure out what you need to do. Now, I will tell you that look at the gifts that God gave you and go and run with that, and use what you can to serve the Lord, because then you'll find contentment with that. But these people hate the Lord, so that's a whole different thing. But again, they don't want to change. It's too much hard work. It hurts. It exposes their sin. Therefore, we just need to change reality, which in a way is even harder. It's more hard work than just admitting that you're a false human being and moving on and bettering yourself. So Hansen now finds himself at the center of a major controversy spearheaded by Musk that has exposed alleged racist and illegal hiring practices at the company. But, as the saying goes, it gets worse. A whistleblower who previously worked for the developer came forward to YouTube personality Smash JT. I've had him on the show. Good bloke. With stories of his experience, working for the company and for Hansen. I'm assuming I'm hoping that's Hansen. Matt Hansen, whistleblower Matt Hansen is evil. I'm assuming that's him. If it was the guy that came on if it was the whistleblower, my apologies, but again, I think that's actually him. The shift in workplace dynamics began after Microsoft acquired Obsidian in November of 2018 and made them a part of Xbox Studios, Smash JT said in his official write-up on the 2.5-hour conversation he had with the whistleblower, codenamed Doe for the sake of anonymity. Okay, yeah, that's him. Woo, good. I was going hard on the fella, but I'm glad it's going for a good case, Yes, I'm a douche, but that's all right. And plus, the guy is a whistleblower, so obviously he wants to be anonymous. They implemented some very strange corporate policies. The first tip-off to Doe that things weren't normal anymore. Well, let's be real. Nothing in the video game industry was normal once 2016. Again, 2016, that is where the epicenter of all of this insanity, I personally believe, came from. We saw that back in 2000. We heard a little bit about that from the music composer, I believe, of Halo 2. He was saying some of that stuff was starting to rear its head, because 9/11 happening and all that stuff. But But to me, 2016, that's the epicenter, because that's when Orange Man came into office, the bad Orange Man that these people all feared and fell for the PSYOP. So this thing that tipped him off that things weren't normal was the introduction of optionally, but in reality, mandatory pronouns in email signatures, meetings, and other communications. Wasn't long before an event he described as a, quote, misgendering incident swept through the company. This led to Matt Hansen sending out a company-wide email detailing a zero-tolerance policy on intentional or malicious misgendering. The email's tone was described to me as passive-aggressive yet threatening, Smash JT said, a fair warning that employees who couldn't align with these policies would face termination. And then they could then probably maybe sue them for illegal termination on terms of, I don't know, religion, maybe. Just do that. JT went on to say that Doe described the use of pronouns within the company as a way of controlling others. That's exactly the reason why they use it. It's been politicized. Pronouns that have been established since the teaching of English, the establishment of the English language, and probably in all the other languages out there, of course, is based in reality. That when you say pronouns such as he, she, he, her, and all that, it's because it's based in reality. Now it's about talking about, exactly this, transgenderism. JT went on to say that Doe described the use of pronouns within the company as a way of controlling others. They were used as a means of shifting the balance of power within Obsidian and Microsoft. Doe also observed that Matt Hansen was, I don't know what sick means. Does that mean like a word was removed or something? But in any case, was extremely difficult to work with. Well, I mean, he sounds like a huge douchebag, so I'm not surprised that he'd be difficult to work with, citing an unwillingness to accept constructive criticism and a consistent tendency to make assumptions about lower-level employees' commitment, JT said. He also said around this time, the number of straight white male employees diminished until they could be counted on one hand. I think that's supposed to say on, not one hand. That certainly falls in line with the potentially discriminatory hiring practice Obsidian is being accused of by Musk and others. Hansen made it clear that he hires based on race and that people who aren't, quote, crusty white dudes are his priority. This is the same thing as in the voice acting industry. This is a prime example as well of people who always try to get unions formed, like people to get unions, like the LA actors who try to come down here in Texas for the right to work actors and actresses. They always try to get them to sign up for unions and stuff like that. They'll say the stuff, they'll say it's for the good for everybody, but really it's only good for the people in power. And the people in power are not going to give up their power. He claims that he wants someone to replace him, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. He is not going to give up that power. Doe also detailed a story in which a full 2 years after the COVID pandemic, Microsoft attempted to make Obsidian employees return to work in the office to increase productivity and equality. The reaction from employees was nothing short of completely unhinged. Employees of all levels melted down in front of all the higher-ups on a Microsoft Teams call, Smash JT said. Apparently, the ringleader of the pushback on ending remote work was Hansen himself. Amid the chaos, Matt Hansen, the art director of over 9 years now at Obsidian, emerged as a vocal advocate for continued remote work. JT said, noting that according to Doe, Hansen cited various mental health concerns for employees as part of the reason why they couldn't come into work. Oh man, if the higher ups over Hansen here had the backbone, how much of a punch in the gut would it be to have a higher up on a Zoom call meeting say, well, okay, all of you fuckers are fired. Get the fuck out of here. We'll go find someone else. Oh my gosh. That would to be a fly on the wall if that would have happened would have been amazing. Oh my goodness. Could you imagine? Because he's already talking about how, like, we got to do remote work for mental health reasons. Doe stated that the extreme COVID caution, along with the massive ideological shift within the organization, turned Obsidian into some kind of new age religion. Well, I mean, yes, it's a cult. He noted that the remaining employees were driven by blind obedience to an ideological dogma. Well, that's a straight up cult. Yeah, woke ideology is a cult. This corporate chokehold has now stifled creativity and stripped games of values for players, JT said. Leaders at Obsidians like Matt Hansen continue to be empowered to go on unhinged blue sky racist rants, attacking gamers and being protected by echo chambers of positive feedback. Despite this, Doe said that it wasn't all bad and he still had hope for Obsidian's future. Excuse me. I learned a lot from several people there and have a lot of respect for them and their craft, Doe said. I think the distinction is really important to make because many of these people are good at heart and well-intentioned and just want to make cool stuff. Many of those who've fallen unknowingly into this indoctrination can't really see it for what it is, and the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Well, the sad, unfortunate thing is you've got to 100% remove all the bad weeds. You have to burn them. That's the thing. That's great if people want to make cool stuff and stuff. They will be snuffed out if they do not speak up. With Musk's involvement, it seems as though a reckoning might be coming for Obsidian. It's, as of now, unclear whether these controversies will have any major impact on Avowed sales. However, with Musk's connections at the highest level of government, it's certainly possible that any illegal hiring practices at Obsidian will be looked into once the Trump administration takes control on January 20th, 2025. And then Chris Elon, the co-founder of Obsidian, even urged any developers, we read this about, to seek legal help here. My goal with helping bringing all of this to light is I want to spread awareness of what is actually the problem in our industry and where it's coming from and why. Doe said to Smash JT, I do not want to see my friends and peers fail. I do not want to see Obsidian and Microsoft fail. I would love to see healthy competition again in our industry where developers are unshackled by bad management and leadership, shareholders and investors' personal interest. Making a good game comes first. If you can convey a message through a seamless and fun experience, then even better. Let the creative endeavor happen naturally. It can't be forced. I'm a firm believer in the free market of ideas and mediocrity, and whatever is the best idea for the game and what the player base wants, that what should be implemented. I agree with all of what he said. I have a problem, though. You said bad management, leadership, shareholders, and investors' personal interests. You forgot to mention your other fellow developers. Let's be real here. They're also part of the problem. The developers that are the activists, that are the terrorists, that are the DEI hires, they need to be removed. Not just management learning to pull their head out of their ass. Like, they need to be permanently removed from the gaming industry and kept out. Because to me, if you want to be an activist, go ahead and be an activist. You have no business being in the gaming industry because we know how these people think. Like, for example, your Sweet Baby Inc. All they did was ride on the coattails of when the cancel culture movement was happening, the Me Too movement, the George Floyd riots. They got government funding for that, and they saw an industry that they had a big issue with, that they didn't want to actually contribute to, but they wanted to bastardize and simply infiltrate and destroy it because they hate the fact and don't want to accept the fact that the majority of people who play games are indeed white male gamers. They want to destroy that. Why? Clout, greed, narcissism, all that stuff. I'll even go as far as saying, like, probably being demon possessed, some of them for sure. I mean, you just look at Hollywood. That's why, you know, he says he doesn't want to see Obsidian or Microsoft failed. Honestly, to me, I've said it before in past streets, at this point, one of the companies needs to fail big time. Personally, I think it needs to be Ubisoft. Ubisoft needs, because to me, Ubisoft seems to have accepted that mantle for some weird reason. Assassin's Creed Shadows, you know, Star Wars Outlaws, all that stuff. I want that company to burn to the ground. It sucks that it has to happen, and it sucks that maybe good people might lose their job and stuff like that. But at this point, the foundation is broken, and you got to replace the foundation. And hopefully that'll be a strong enough ripple effect to other gaming studios, other AAA studios, to pull their head out of their ass and realize that, yeah, maybe we should just make good games as opposed to like trying to push an ideology that is only being like repeated by, a small fringe minority weirdos, your activists that you saw back in the day. Let's see. Also, I want to see success for everyone. I think it's important that it is earned, Doe said. Honestly, and accountability is paramount. For those that don't earn it, I hope you learn from your earned failures. I do agree, but that requires them to fail. And sometimes for them to fail, they need to be removed. Success is built on learning from our past failures. Success can be blessing. But remember to also stay humble and check your egos at the door when you clock in. I agree. In fact, to me, when you clock in, your goal should be, how can I make this the best game ever? But what do I know? We're here because our players support us to do so. We're here to make a fun experience and provide escapism for them, maybe even inspire some of our fellow gamers to take up the mantle like we have for those who inspired us to join the creative endeavors of game development. We're here for the journey and the process, not the destination. Developers win when their players win. Good people will be able to get another job. They will land on their feet. See, that's the says Brian over on YouTube. See, that's the other thing too. And that's what a lot of people don't want to admit because they want to be nice, obviously, and be like, well, I don't want, I feel bad when people lose their job. The reality is people lose their jobs every day. It sucks. I know. I've lost plenty of jobs. But you're exactly right, Brian. The good people know how to land on their feet and go. The people who got jobs because they were a DEI activist, terrorist hire don't have the mental capacity to not even do what they were hired to do, but they won't even have the capacity to know what to do when they get booted. Because they're not caring about what they're going into. They're taking the easy way out. So, because old Matt Hansen got super salty on Elon has apparently announced that he's making an AI game studio to make gaming great again. Interesting. The world's richest man has apparently had enough. Elon Musk today, that would have been, again, November 27th, this is from that Park Place, announced plans to create an AI game studio to make gaming great again. So Musk, a longtime gamer who was at one time the world's top-ranked Diablo 4 player, has been vocal in the past with his opinions on the gaming industry and its shift towards identity politics and virtue signaling. Musk has weighed in repeatedly on topics like pronoun selections, appearing in AAA video games, and other agenda-driven content making its way onto consoles. So this ideology approach to storytelling has become the rule in modern gaming rather than the exception. Well, this is another thing too. Like, this is something I actually don't like that Park Place is doing. I mean, I understand what they're talking about. Is this term modern gaming? Modern gaming is the bastardization of what's happening in gaming. Just remember that. I know it's being said modern gaming like games today, but understand, modern gaming means bastardization in one way, shape, or form. Same term as modern audience. Rather than the exception, the gamers have started to push back. After the disastrous rollout of games like Suicide Squad, Dragon Age, Concord, Dustborn, Star Wars Outlaws, gamers are doing whatever they can to make their voices and opinions heard. One of those gamers has a net worth of $326.4 million. So there's the tweet right here. Too many game studios that are owned by massive corporation. XAI is going to start an AI game studio to make games great again. Now, I'm a little skeptical with AI. Like, I've used AI, but I definitely am curious as to what he's planning on doing. I feel that just by hearing this, I think it should go more the indie route in terms of that, as opposed to backing up AI. So Elon reposted a post on X from Dogecoin creator Billy Marcus. I don't understand how game developers and game journalists got so ideological captured. Gamers have always been trolls, anti-greedy corporations, anti-BS. Gamers have always rejected dumb, manipulative BS and can tell when someone is an outside poser. So that's when Musk responded with his statement. A gaming studio backed by Musk could have the ability to change the course of the gaming world, much as the Tesla and SpaceX had Hansen change the social media when he purchased Twitter and turned it into X. The AI studio would also be able to, in theory, turn out games faster than bloated AAA studios that sometimes take anywhere from 5 to 10 years to put out a new title. This would be a substantial leap forward in AI adoption and might very well spark an industry-wide shift. Musk's announcements received high praise from former World of Warcraft team leader Mark Kern, aka Grums. So it's time. AA games are outperforming AAA bloat this year by an order of magnitude. AAA budgets of this massive corporate games are unsustainable. 8 to 12 studios spread out over the world to make one game is hugely insufficient. Mythical Man Month on steroids, $300 million to $1 billion budgets compete for 5 to 10 slots a year between success and failure. High risk means no new ideas, same recycled slop. They are already collapsing. Meanwhile, AA studios with 40 to 7 million budgets are delivering 5 to 10 times return and taking all the top sales this year. Musk offered no further comment on the announcement, meaning we're all going to have to wait and see what's becoming of this exciting development in the world of gaming. Are you excited that Elon Musk opened up his own? Again, I want to know what exactly he's using with AI. I feel he should go more the indie platform route. I think of kind of like a Niche Gamer, as we can see here, has an article about Musk's announcement too. I think more of kind of like in movies, like for example, The Boondock Saints, like one of my top favorite, if not my favorite movie out there. You know, the movies that they had a budget, but obviously it wasn't a big studio budget. So they utilized as much as they can within that. And you have that guerrilla type film, a little rough around the edges, but polished enough. I actually like that look. That's how I think of this when, you know, your indie companies get like something like that. Because they're going to try and make it the best game that it's ever possible, because that is the limit they have. These AAA games, like what Grums was saying, yeah, they 5 to 10 years, so they can sit around, fuck around, produce slop, and they have the money to back it up. And when it fails, it's like, whatever. Like Hollywood's kind of going that way too. But, you know, that it's almost like having a more limited budget keeps that fire lit underneath your feet to make sure that you're doing the best that you can. Obviously, try to organize yourself to where you don't get burnt out and everything like that. But, you know, it's like when these companies have these big budgets and then, you know, they hire all these DEI activists and tourists and all that stuff. And when shit fails, they're like, we don't know what to do. Or they just straight up don't care that they lost money, which is weird. So Elon Musk, owner of Tesla and social media platform X, it's probably going to be kind of a similar article here. It'll be AI-based. Announced he's launching a new gaming company, AI-based by XAI, an AI artist company started by Musk last year. The surprise announcement came in response to a post from Shibotoshi Nakamoto, the maker of Dogecoin. And then we pretty much just read that. Best games I've played over the last 10 years, added to like when he said about rejected, you know, gamers were always anti, you know, corporation, anti-greedy and all that stuff. There's a little bit more to that. He said, best games I've ever played over the last 10 years have all been indie games besides Skyrim and Fallout 4. I love indie games. And then that's when Musk responded. So Musk's announcement was greeted with both celebration and criticism from all across the gaming world spectrum. Composer Marty O'Donnell offered to compose music for the new game studio. On the other hand, game dev project Redot proposed that a better use of money would be starting an initiative to support indie game developers, and game director Gemma Cooper compared the initiative to the failed push for NFTs a few years back. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, I'm still a tad bit skeptical about the AI portion of it. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what Musk can do. Be nice. That's pretty much all I have for you today. Let's bring up some This Day in Gaming news. I always like to end on reminding folks of games from the past that you can be excited about. That to know that there's still stuff to do. Actually, technically, I didn't read this. Apparently, 8-Bit Duo is releasing an official Xbox version of its retro keyboard. So they did kind of the same thing with like the Nintendo and stuff. But kind of going a little over of what I'd like to do today, at least for the time being. So that also came from Video Game Chronicles. You can also check that out as well. But let's check what GameFAQs and Moby Games have. Games that were released today, November 29th. Legaia 2, Dual Sagas. I haven't heard of that one. Mega Man X6. There you go. Ooh, Final Fantasy 1 and 2, Dawn of Souls. Let's see. What else do we got? I haven't really heard of a whole lot of... Ooh, Golden Sun Dark Dawn. I still need to play that. I played Golden Sun. And then I think I actually have this one. I need the Lost Ages, I think is the second one. That one's a fun one. Or the first one was a fun one. I need to continue this one. But Golden Sun, that's a good one. Apparently Voltron for PS3. Nobunaga's Ambition. Oh, if you're a Persona Q2. Need for Speed Unbound. The Night Witch. Okay. A little... I mean, Mega Man X... I need to still play the Mega Man X series, but... Yeah, it's some good games here. Let's expand a little bit from Moby Games. Still have my GBA Final Fantasy 1 and 2. Nice. Let's see what across the world kind of what we have. See if something else sticks out here on my mind. Lady Phantom TurboGrafx CD from Japan. Interesting. Worms for DOS. Hey, Rurouni Kenshin Ishin Geki Tohen. That is the fighting version of Rurouni Kenshin. I have a copy of this. Unfortunately, never released in the US. I have the PlayStation 2 one. I wish someone would make an English translation for that one. Because that would have been that's a hack and slash one. That would have been right up my alley. There's also the RPG Rurouni Kenshin. That would have been awesome if it came over. Some people were working on an English translation, but it never came to fruition. Oh gosh, South Park's Chef's Love Shack for PlayStation. That's not good. But still there. Guilty Gear X Plus, if you're a Guilty Gear fan. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell in the United Kingdom. The Scorpion King. Oh gosh. Hey, Dragon Ball Z Budokai in the United Kingdom, the PlayStation 2 version. Great game. Love the Budokai games. I recently played Dragon Ball Z 2V. That is Budokai 2, and that is the V Jump version that had some additional features that the US did not have. Fear. I never played the Fear series. I should. Some of my friends play it, but I never did. Might have been though when I didn't have like a 360 or PS3. Not really seeing anything else coming down, but that's not to say there can't be anything. Nothing at the moment sticking out of my mind. Or sticking out of... Never mind. Never mind. Oh yeah, we're already in like 2022, so chances are any good games nowadays are very limited. Yep. Alrighty. But there you guys go. That was today's show. Hope you enjoyed it. We were on YouTube, Rumble, X, and a new streaming platform called Party. So you can check me out all over there. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications to get notified when I go live. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Wait a minute, did I just... Oh, sorry. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Let's see if we can... no one really online that I'm seeing. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign off for now. Ryan says, you have a good night. Yes, you too. Thanks for hanging out, you guys. We'll probably be doing some more Tomb Raider. But have a good night, you guys. Take care. God bless. Thanks for the support, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Till then, adios. Peace.